I believe we live in a golden age where technology is allowing us to have more options as far as investors, things that people in the past could not do. And one of those key things is fractional shares. So we're going to talk about fractional shares and what are they and might they be right for you coming up. Hi there and welcome to the channel where we help you to learn fast so you can become confident and become a better and more successful investor. All right, so let's talk fractional shares, right? And it's really an interesting kind of concept and something that you can actually use today in many different areas. Not in all, but in some. And the idea of fractional shares, and to think about it, when you're thinking about, let's say, buying stock, right, in the stock market as an example, you know, to buy one share of stock, to buy one stock, it can be very pricey. For example, at the time recording this video, Amazon's trading at $3,300 per share. So if you wanted to buy one share of Amazon, you're going to come up with the equivalent of $3,300. Tesla's around $700, Facebook $365. Even Disney's at $178 as far as somebody wants to invest in Disney. A lot of kids like to, or their parents like to invest in Disney. But that's a lot of money to come up just to buy one share. I mean, if you want to buy three shares of Tesla, you're almost at, three shares of Amazon, you're almost at $10,000. And that doesn't give you a lot of diversification to invest in three shares of Amazon. Maybe you want to invest in some of these other stocks. So the way to help solve that is where fractional shares came to be. And they can really help you to get more diversification, allow you to buy into stocks that maybe you couldn't buy before because it was just too expensive, the actual share prices. And fractional shares are actually what they describe. You're buying a smaller portion or a fraction of a share. It's the rare time, very rare time, that terminology in the finance industry is actually so self-explanatory. Usually it's very confusing or weird or boring or whatever it might be. But in this case, a fractional share is buying a fraction of a share. So for example, if you have $1,000 to invest, I have $1,000 and I want to buy some Amazon stock, for example, at $3,000, $3,300 per share. Well, you could buy you couldn't buy it with just $1,000 to buy a full share. You have to come up with $3,300. But you could buy a fractional share, so that'd be 0.3, right, or 0.30 of Amazon stock. You would own that fraction of the share. Or you could buy, if Tesla's, let's say, at $700, you could buy 1.43 shares of Tesla. You could buy one full share and 0.43 or less than one full share, 0.3 of Tesla, instead of having just to being able to buy one share of Tesla and then having that other money left over, about $300 left over. Where do I invest that? I can't buy Facebook, that's $365. Certainly can't buy Tesla. What do I do? I just leave it in the cash account, earning no interest. So with buying fractional shares, you can kind of get more fully invested with the amount of money that you have to invest by buying a fraction instead of a full share. And so that's a really, really great thing, I think. So as far as buying fractional shares. So how does it work? How does it mechanically work buying it through an online broker? How do you actually buy a fractional share? So really, it's pretty simple for brokers that do offer it. Not everyone does, by the way, but it does work for those who do. Here's an example from a screenshot from Robinhood. And you can choose, instead of buying shares, you're choosing to buy in dollars, for example, and with like many online brokers, you can invest as little as $1, right? This is Robinhood. There's other types of companies out there, usually around the same rate, that you can take a look at. I'm not recommending one or another. I have no money coming in from that, so I'm just having to take the screenshot. So you can buy $1 worth of Tesla or $1 worth of Amazon if you want, or $1 of this exchange traded fund, SPY, which is a S&P 500 exchange traded fund. You could buy $1 of that. So you can just choose, I want to buy in dollars, and you just choose the amount of dollars, and it'll automatically calculate how much you're buying, either in full shares or fractions of shares. Or you could choose buying shares and just enter a less than full share amount. So you can get as low as, what are we up to here? 1, 2, 3, what's it, 5 decimal points there? 6 total decimal points to the 0.00001 or 0.01. So you could buy in increments of shares that way. It gives you that flexibility to do that. So you have those choices. So it's very easy to do as far as buying these fractional shares. And that's something we couldn't do years ago. They just didn't offer fractional shares, didn't have the technology to even offer and track and offer such things. So the fact that we can do that now is really, really great. So there's some pros to buying fractional shares, but there are also some cons to buying fractional shares. So let's talk a little bit about that. So you're probably starting to see some of the pros around this, right? You have access to more stocks, like we use that Amazon example because you can buy fractions of them. It gives you a very low cost way to get more diversification. I mean, if I can buy a fraction of a share of stock for $1, well, I can now have 10, 20, 30, a whole bunch of stock, 100 stocks, 1,000 stocks by investing in fractional shares, giving me more diversification than putting all my money only in one share because that's all I can afford with what I want to invest in or I have available to invest in. There's less money in the cash portion of your account earning real low interest rates. You can become more fully invested. You don't have to, let's say, buy one share of Tesla and then wait to earn another $400 of investment money so you can then go buy the rest of with your $300 to buy a second share of Tesla. You can now buy fractional shares of Tesla and a whole bunch of other companies. So less money in cash. And it works really well for dollar cost averaging, where you've got money that comes in, let's say, directly from your paycheck or directly from whatever your savings account that you're now putting into an investing account. You don't have to build up your savings account and then move in a big lump sum. You could put in these fractions each time, maybe every month or every week, how often you have it automatically being invested. That's dollar cost averaging, automatically investing small amounts over a long period of time. And fractional shares lend itself to that because you can automate this and buy all these fractional shares over time and become more fully invested through that. So some really good pros around that. But there are some real cons to be aware of too. So one of the cons, and you see this on the news a lot, is it can really encourage active trading, right? Well, if I can buy this share here, I can sell it and then buy another little here and buy a little one here and sell that one. And so I can be really active trading, right? So by active trading, you want to be, versus let's say a buy and hold investor, if you want to be an active trader, be like a day trader and all that, that's something you really need to really understand how to do that well. I have a whole course on technical analysis, for example, which is around charting. Works really well for folks who want to be active traders or day traders. It's like a 12.5-hour real complete course, good course. So if you want to do that, then pick up a course like that. I've got links and things below or from someone. Mine's really good, I think. So take a look at the preview videos. But if you want to do active trading, then you really need to know what you're doing. But it can really encourage active trading for folks that maybe are less educated or skilled around it. So something to be aware of. Also, if you're actively trading, you can incur more fees along the way too, depending on where your broker is maybe offering a no fee option, or maybe it's a low cost option, or maybe you're paying more each time you do a trade being either a buy or a sell, and you're incurring fees there. That can erode your returns, your total profits, because a lot of it's going to fees because you're churning, you're trading much more frequently, possibly. So it's something to be aware of on that as far as how it can encourage active trading. Also, another thing too is there might be a limited selection of assets or securities that fractional shares are available to. They might not be available to all different types of stocks out there, for example, or exchange traded funds, or some cryptocurrencies you could buy it as a fractional share depending on the broker, but many others you can't. So you might have a little bit more limited selection of assets. You'd have to look at your online broker to see what type of assets or securities they have available to you and whether that's broad enough for you, because that's a little bit more limited. At least right now, I can see that expanding, but right now it can be a little bit more limited. Fractional shares actually reduce your liquidity. Liquidity being how fast something you can sell it, or how fast you can buy it, and certainly how fast you can sell it. So if you own a home, for example, that's very illiquid. You can't sell a home very quickly. I can't sell a home in 3 minutes, for example. But I could sell a share of stock in 3 minutes or less in nanoseconds. But fractional shares, because they're not full shares, actually trade slower than full shares. So a full share will trade faster than a fractional share. Not a big deal, but if markets are moving quickly, that's something to be aware of, that a full share is going to trade faster typically than a fractional share. And the last thing, and this is maybe the most important thing in order to be aware of, is that not all online brokers offer fractional shares. It's still a little bit emerging area. Many of them are offering it, and more will be offering because it's, again, driven by consumer demand. Us as consumers, us as investors are demanding it because we like those pros. There's a lot of things we like about this idea of fractional shares. We love the idea that we can buy a little Amazon, a little Tesla, a little Johnson & Johnson, a little bit of Walmart, whatever it is. We can buy all these little bits of these companies. So that's going to force the brokers to respond to their customers. So Many of them are starting to offer it. More are going to keep offering in the future. But your broker that you are with right now might not offer it. So it's something to inquire on and see if they're going to offer it, or maybe it's something you might want to, this might be the time to choose a different broker. We have videos and things around that on choosing online brokers you might want to check out. So with that, understand that not all brokers offer it and not all countries and brokers and countries offer it too. But I think it's something you're going to start seeing more and more of all the time. All right, fractional shares. I think they're great. I think it's a great option for people. Look at those pros and cons and decide if fractional shares are for you. So with that, that wraps up this video. If you like this video, give it a nice little like. Also, if you like these types of videos, please subscribe. I think you'll really enjoy subscribing to the channel. Help you do. And with that, I wish you all the best of luck in your investment journey, whether you're buying full shares or fractional shares.